Where do you go when you've been praying every day for months, weeks, years, and for a particular thing from God, and you still ain't got an answer? Where do you go when you on your knees begging for God to handle something, to let a truth be known, and still nothing? Where do you go when you starting to lose things and you like, Lord, I know you real, I know you hear me, but still things just keep falling by the wayside for you? Where do you go when you begging for God to just bring you back to where you was with Him, when you was just, we felt Him every day? Where you go when what do you do when you just don't feel God answering your prayers like you used to? When sometimes, man, you used to pray and you so bold because you like, I know He's here, because you get a prayer answered like that. Where you go when you can't feel Him no more? Where you go when it's like, do you even hear me, Lord? What do you do in these times? You keep praying. You keep praying and you keep coming. God says He's a rewarder for those who continue to seek Him. That's part of faith. Sometimes you don't even know how much faith you have until God will rip away. He'll always be there, but He'll rip away you feeling Him. And now He's like, do you believe in me now? Because most of the time, us as believers, we got to admit, a lot of times our prayers are answered like that. But then there's sometimes where our prayers are not answered like that. Sometimes it's like, Lord, what's going on? Like everything around me is failing. And I know you here. I know you here, Lord Jesus. I've been through too much to know that to say that you're not here. Exactly. Think about that. That's what we got to remember in the midst of our trials. In the midst of that spot where you can't get a prayer answered, you feel like He ain't answering, you feel like He ain't there. To say that He's not there is to remove everything you ever been through with Him. And to say that that was all coincidence. To say that that wasn't true. We know that that's not true. You know? To say that everything we see around us is not really God creating things. We will start agreeing with the atheists who say that, nah, this ain't creation. This is this illusion of creation, an illusion of design. That's what we would have to do if we would have to say that God is not there. God is not answering our prayers. But we know we know He's there. But sometimes we will go through these parts in life. And this is a message especially to baby Christians, new believers who are in that honeymoon stage with God, where you feel like you have faith to move mountains. You will come upon a time where your faith will be tested, and you will find yourself in the wilderness. And God's gonna say, do you still believe in me? Because everything around you is falling apart. But just when you think it's all over, God steps in like the God He is to restore or make better, or at the best bring us home. The worst thing that can happen to us can't happen to us, and that's to die and go to hell. But you will have to see if your faith's real. You will have to see, because God knows it's real. God knows what you got. You don't know what you have. How do you know you can stand in the storm and say, let your will be done, if you're never in a storm? How do you know he's there no matter what? If you can't feel him and you like, I know he's there. See, that's where you better know the character of your God. That's where you better know the scriptures and you better know the promises of God. Because when you don't feel him around you nowhere and you feel like he ain't answering your prayers, you better know that that's a lie, and you better know the character of your God. You better know that he said he'll never leave us nor forsake us. You better know that he said that there's nothing that can separate you from the love of God. But in that moment, you will be tempted to say, he's not there, man. This is falling on deaf ears. That's Satan, whose ultimate guide, whose ultimate job is to make you deny your God. And in that moment, you will be faced with the question, do I keep serving God and I don't even hear nothing, I don't see nothing, or do I deny him and be found to be who he probably really was, a non-believer at the time. I mean, a non-believer. But you will be faced with that. And I don't want to scare new believers, because I say that to some people and they're like, man, I don't want to go through that. There's something on the other end of that that's irreplaceable. There's something on the other end of that, of you knowing he's there. Because if you praying for something and you don't get an answer, and you pray and you pray and you pray, and a year goes by, 5 years goes by, a decade goes by, and all of a sudden it looks like, man, this is all lost. And then God steps in. And you know, look, ain't no one was going to answer this prayer but him. Your faith has grown. You know why? Because not only did you not feel nothing around you, you didn't even sense him, but you kept your faith in him. And now it came through, and now you're bold. You're bold to proclaim God in front of everybody. Because you've seen a miraculous thing happen. You've seen God answer a prayer that was just impossible. Well, here comes the next one. Here comes the next trial. And same thing. But see, that's what builds our faith. That's what makes us go from faith to faith. Without that, you don't know who your God is. You don't know if he can deliver you from anything. You don't know if he can move mountains to get to you. Like, you don't know that unless you go through that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it takes your knees to be scarred up from being on your knees, begging God. Eyes just watered up because you've been praying so much. That shows you believe in God. Because you know what? Anyone else, they would have left. They will leave God. They will leave God. They will be like, that's too much. He's not real. Because if he was real, he would have been hearing me. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years. I'm going through this. Congratulations. You were found to be an unfaithful or unbeliever. But if you keep on pursuing, God will be there. God will answer that prayer. We don't know when. But it's something, it's the reward that comes on the other end of that is ultimate faith in your God. Ultimate faith that no matter where you at, you know that you are in reach of your God. Even if you don't feel him, even if you don't hear him, you're like, I know him though. I know him. Like this, I know him. He's alive. I talk to him every day. I don't need to feel him every moment. Like, see, that's what I'm... Hey, look. Life, being a Christian, is about feelings. You know what I'm saying? You feel different every day. So if you feel different every day, how you going to base your Christianity? How you going to base your walk on feelings? You know what I'm saying? That's why I got to be on truth. Investigate the scriptures, the gospels, and see, line it up with history, and see if your God is real. And after walking with him for a while, besides all the history and everything, you're going to have an experience with your God that's going to be like, not only can I see that Jesus was a real man, Jesus really died on the cross, and Jesus really was resurrected, but also I know him now, personally. And that's what will carry you from faith to faith. But, because I'm going through something right now, and it's only because of what I went through in the past with God that I could say, listen, I know he's here. I might not feel him. I might not hear him. But he's there. Because that's one thing about God, he's not going to be totally quiet. I don't want you to get it twisted like, oh, he's just quiet on every level. No, he's still answering on some things, but some things he's like, I'm not moving right now on that. You're going to wait. You're going to trust me. And that's how you're going to know you have faith in your God. Later.